So this is a yin class, and I am your teacher, Lil Bear. And I'd like you to make sure that you have all the props that you need. This will be a class a lot for the legs. We worked on the hips in the previous class in the tune-up class, so this is kind of to go in conjunction with that and really loosen up the hips. But first, let's tune in. In tune-up class, it's a little more energetic, and then we start to bring it inwards even deeper at this point. Find that comfortable seated position with a tall spine without struggle. It's just a light lift, feeling supported. Eyes can be closed, or if they are open, it would be in a way that is still. We're not looking around the room too much. We're just gazing at something softly. Otherwise, eyes closed. And noticing our body here in this space that you're in. Noticing the proximity within your mind's eye and the feeling of your body, noticing the proximity of items surrounding you. Knowing that you are here in this physical body, having this life experience, all of it, all the shades of it. Sometimes we resist the things that we're not conditioned to find appealing. But it really is all part of our experience. And as you settle into your body, to your breath, start noticing your breath moving in and out. As you exhale, notice if some of the tension can soften. Just bringing that intention of letting something go. You don't have to let it go, but maybe it feels good to let it go. Noticing your hands. Are they tensed up? Your shoulders. Your chest. And as you're drawn to your inhale, you feel a gentle lengthening of the spine, not strongly, just this, as if there was a string puppet at the top of your head, and it's just gently lifting it up, creating just a little bit more space between the vertebrae, so that the energy can flow through the body even more effectively. Notice if the glutes are relaxed or if they're tense, and relax them if you can with your exhale. The legs. Noticing if there's any holding. There's going to be a little bit because you're sitting in a position that requires some engagement. And for your last 3 breaths, perhaps setting a very gentle intention, an invitation that can support you in your practice today. It could be this concept of softening and trusting your body, letting go in each pose, or it could be something like not pushing in a pose if you tend to push, like needing to be somewhere else. So maybe the intention would be being there moment by moment, breath by breath. And with your inhale, we'll release the meditation and come into butterfly with zipped toes. And I actually like to sit up on something for this. And zipping the toes, just like you'd interlace, and you want to start with the pinky toes. That's the easiest way I've found to get into the zipped toes, is with the pinky. And in this butterfly, it's more like a diamond. We have about a foot and about a foot and a half space. Once you're in the pose, you can take a deep breath in to sit up tall, creating lots of space in the spine. And then folding forward with hands either over the legs or under the legs. And now for some of us, maybe we need some support under the knees, in which case you'd take a block. And I only have one block with me, so then I have a bolster for the other side if it's needed. And then letting yourself melt forward into the pose. And allowing the breath to move up and down the channel as you inhale, drawing the breath down to the pelvic floor. You might even feel an expansion of the perineum, the muscle between the genitals at the bottom. And then breathing in all the way up into the shoulders. Maybe even you feel some neck muscles. And then when you exhale, softening back down to the pelvic floor. And finding that rhythmic breath that naturally swipes up and down through the body. As we can feel the tissues of the body softening, the fascia, when you feel fascia loosening, it can feel a little bit burny, like a little bit of a burning sensation. Numbness and tingling are generally examples of needing to back off. It's an indication that we're just kind of pressing on a nerve or a vessel, blood vessel. What I love about yin is it really teaches us how to be kinder to ourselves in other parts of our lives. So if we're a big hot yoga person, like I love hot yoga, 3 more breaths. Yin taught me to be more gentle in a harder practice, slowing down my breath, respecting my body, only going to that first edge and then breathing there till I'm ready for the next. And slowly, slowly on your inhale, unround your back all the way up. And slowly undoing the toes, just noticing how your body feels before moving. And then bringing the hands to the outside. Is the image good, Janet? Or is it cutting out?
Cuts out a little bit, but I'm
cutting out
to you more than watching you. Yeah, you're
okay, perfect. Too. Okay, good. But the voice is good. The voice works, yeah?
Yeah, the voice is good. I can hear the voice.
Okay. It says my internet is unstable, so. Okay, now we're doing half butterfly. We're going to be folding forward again. Okay, so even though one leg is out, we're folding forward into half butterfly. Take a deep breath in once you find the sits bones grounded. And then slowly exhale to fold into the forward fold position. And maybe you need a bolster like I do. I like the bolster. Finding that first edge, generally between 60 and 85% of sensation. You know, like if 100% was you're really feeling it, we don't want to be that deep in poses in yin. And I like to say, if you are generally a high intensity person, try backing off even more. It seems counterproductive, but for some of us, it's just a new way of doing things that explores another aspect of life experience. And it teaches us about the more subtle sensations in our body, that it doesn't always need to be this hardcore stretch. As the body softens, you can modify the position, maybe go a little deeper if that's available. Just noticing the quality of your breath without efforting too much. And taking one more deep breath in. Exhaling everything out. Planting the hands down on an inhale, slowly bring yourself back up, right? Pausing for a feeling breath. Exhaling. And inhale. Bring the leg back in. Switch to the other side. If you feel you need windshield wiper in between, go ahead at any time and do that. Same thing on this side. Toes pointing up. Take a deep breath in to sit up tall. Keeping that length, start folding forward from the hips. Less of a back rounding, though that's okay too, it can happen. Just intention it to start from the hips and you'll feel it in that hamstring. Everything softens with every exhale, letting it go. And as the pose opens to you, perhaps some depth, the depth changes, you can go deeper. One more deep breath in. And on your next inhale, plant your hands down and again, slowly peeling yourself out. Those muscles have been stretched for a while. So go slowly. All right, let's do some windshield wipers. All right, staying with the hips, and we're doing like a double pigeon. Place your left leg about 90 degrees and place the right leg on top. Now I'm very tight in this. So if you're tight like me, you can have the bottom leg straight and some support under your right. Your left leg straight and your right like this. Or if you try double, are you doing double, Janet? Okay. There. Oh, yeah. Okay. So grounding down through sit bones, take a deep breath in. Now you can choose to remain upright or maybe folding forward is in your repertoire. And finding that first edge. This can be pretty deep in the hip. Notice if you're tensing anywhere around the hip. It's okay if you are. It's totally normal. There's some guarding. And then as you bring your awareness there, maybe there's some shift happening. There's something changing. Saying, oh, maybe I don't need to hold my glute. Oh, I didn't realize that I was holding this muscle or that muscle. And you slowly let it go. Sometimes when you let it go, it can feel pretty intense in the pose. So sometimes you may need to back off. As every exhale deepens, body releases, softens with every breath. Three more deep breaths. Carefully with your inhale, if you're folded forward, bring yourself back up. Unwind the leg for a few windshield wipers. Let's do the other side. This time, the right foot is on the bottom, left is on top. Woo, big difference on this side for me. And what I forgot to say this time is, so I could do it if I let my ankle be twisted like this, but I want to get really into the hips and I don't want to overstretch my ankle ligaments. So I actually have the space in between the bone and my foot. It just seems to nestle really well right there on my thigh. And I'm placing a block to support my leg somehow. But once you find your position, sit up tall, sit bones grounding towards the earth. And with your exhale, fold forward or stay upright. It really is your choice. I get enough out of it sitting upright. It feels like manageable for me. If I was to fold forward, I think it would be a little too deep. And there comes a time in your life when you just don't like abusing your body anymore. Some of you, that's never been an issue, but for some people, it has been. You know, we think more is better. And it's not always the case, actually. It's good to be healthy and to be active, to do fitness, but you are putting lots of stress on your joints. And it's good to put stress on your joints to an extent. You know, too much sitting around is not good. Too much activity is not good. So it's finding that balance for yourself. And what I love about these slower practices is they teach us to listen They slow everything down. It's like a meditation. We let go of all the mind stuff, the mind chatter, which is really only one component of being a human, but we give it a lot of importance because, you know, knowing things is a valuable thing on our planet. But there are other intelligences in our personhood, you know, which include intuition. That is not a mind thing, intuition. The heart, the body. You know, our skin is a highly advanced organ. Your skin is an organ. It's the largest organ of the body, the skin. And all the networks inside, yes, they do go to the brain to relay sensory information and, you know, all that. There's those brain functions. But when we stop giving so much attention to the processing, so that's like the computer, you know, the mind actually. When we release a little bit of the mind, we can tap into other information systems. Then we just live a more complete life. Oh, it's already time. On your inhale, slowly, slowly start to ease your way up. And if that was too abrupt, take another breath and slowly find your way out of the pose. Using your hands to unwind the legs. And moving into some windshield wipers. Oh yeah. So we're kind of doing a circumferential opening of each hip like we did in the previous tune-up class. Now we're going to get into supported bridge. No, actually first we're gonna do swan and then we'll do supported bridge. Find yourself, come onto your hands and knees and slide your left knee forward and find the pigeon of your dreams. Yeah, I switched it. Find the pigeon of your dreams. If you need support under your left hip, please place something. Take a deep breath in. And we can go straight into sleeping swan if you'd like. It's nice and lazy, which is so nice. Or you can stay upright. Targets a different part of your hips a little bit. And if you'd like to start targeting your quadricep and that feels inviting to you, you can bend the back knee and hold the ankle. And of course, that's a little more work. We will be working on the quad shortly after. Find the most inactive position that you can here. You can also switch to have the other hand holding your quad if you like. Slightly targets it different. I feel a little less in this, but I'm bringing myself down a little more, which is getting into my left glute a little bit deeper and targeting a a little bit more of the upper quad I'm finding on the inside a little bit. If you'd like to carefully release the leg, you can. We have about a minute. And releasing all the way down to sleeping swan if that calls you. Last deep breath. And on your inhale, come on up. And either come onto hands and knees or downward dog. Releasing down. On your own time, other side, sliding right knee forward. Finding your swan, any support that you might need under the right hip. And adding the quad stretch if you did on the other side. If you can't reach the quad, you can always use a strap. And if you'd like to switch the hand that's holding the foot or a different targeting spot. And on this side, I'm feeling a little more in the knee area, but not a bad, not a dangerous knee thing. Just a stretch. And for the final minute, remaining upright or releasing foot, coming down to sleeping swan, either on forearms or chest towards the floor. Last deep breath in and out. As you inhale, press yourself up, ease your way out, and either come onto hands and knees for cat-cow or downward dog. releasing down. Lie on your back and get your block for supported bridge. Plant your feet about hip distance apart. Bring your heels close to your sit bones. Relax your hands down. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, start curling your tailbone up to the sky and lifting up your whole lower back, mid back, little bit of upper back, and slide the block to the medium setting. The longest part of your block is parallel to the short end of your mat. So it's really supporting from hip to hip, not up and down the spine. And it's supporting the sacrum. Now, for some of you, maybe you want to be at the highest height of the block. If that works for you and it doesn't feel too demanding, you're welcome to do that. You can always take it down if it was too high. You can always take it up if it was too low. The fun thing about a yoga practice nowadays, it's a lot more honoring each human being. When I started doing yoga in 1998, it was way strict. We were doing Ashtanga and all these practices, and it was very strict, which was awesome. And then bit by bit, we realized that there are different bodies, and literally our bones are structured and made differently, you know, like I'm a little more bow-legged, so there are poses that are actually easier for me, and then there are other poses that are really hard for me. And some people have knocked knees the opposite way, and certain poses are harder for them and easier. Some people naturally are more flexible because they just happen to have the protein elastin in their body that's a little more prevalent, where I have more collagen, I'm more collagenous, so I'm stiffer just by nature. I'm just more stiff. Some people's vertebrae are more spread out and have shorter of the bones that stick out in the back. Therefore, they can do back bends a little better. Whereas some people, they're tighter and longer, so they're going to hit against each other sooner. So they can't, you know what I mean? There's like all this variance. And it's really fun to respect that. So let's do this. I was going to do something else, but we're going to have a little more, we're going to have a little fun. It's always fun, but we're going to have some fun. See if you can, depending on the height of your block, if you can slide your left foot towards you and tuck the toes under to come into a half, kind of like a half saddle. You're tucking the toes towards you, and the knee comes down towards the ground a little bit. This is going to get into your hip flexor in your quad. If that's too much compression and too much pressure on your sacrum, come out of the pose and lower down to the ground and removing the block, and do half saddle, which is just like this, but on the ground. Now, if you want to play around with this, you can bring your opposite knee towards your chest. The right knee. So the left knee is down. The right knee may or may not come up. Or maybe the leg is straight. And maybe some people could grab their toe. I can't, but maybe some people can. And like, you know, notice, is that nice? Does that feel good? It's not about like performance or anything like that. And notice if your left knee is tracking out to the side, and gently invite it back towards the center, towards the midline. You can hold the knee as long as you like. You can bring the foot back down to the ground. If your foot's back down and your arms are on the ground, you can stretch them overhead. Lots of options. Choosing the one for you. And like my hip just opened on the left, so I was able to bring my left foot just a little bit closer to me, getting a little deeper. But I also have to be mindful of my sacrum because I have a little bit of instability in mine. The ligaments that connect my sacrum to my pelvis have probably been a little bit too loosened over the years of doing yoga, of doing unconscious yoga, of doing trying real hard yoga. And now I have to be very mindful, which is really nice. Last breath here, deep breath in. Exhaling everything out. And carefully sliding the foot out on your inhale and just landing the foot back down. Relaxing the back, relaxing the sacrum. And just to activate the glutes and support you a little more here, press into the feet and just lift your pelvis a little bit off the block, like barely, like it's still touching the block, but you're activating those glutes. We're just gonna hold that here for a moment. And then releasing down. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, slide the right toes in towards you, coming into that half supported saddle. Just familiarizing yourself with this, noticing the low back, if there's compression. Just let the low back be long by not overarching the back. And if you'd like to draw the other knee in towards the chest, you can go ahead and do that. Too much? Yeah, so if it's too much with the block, it can be a lot on the block. You can do this directly on the floor. And it's okay if one side is different than the other. You know, we find those spots, those imbalances, and we work through them, and we honor the modification of the other side. Maybe over time it will do the same as the other foot, maybe not. You know, we can have a different formation from one side to the other. So you can always release the foot back down. Maybe you've got room to tuck the right foot. And drawing, if you're on the block, drawing the knee in towards the center line. Arms can be stretched overhead. Last deep breath in and out. And slowly, carefully on your inhale, ease out of the pose. Bringing both feet flat if you've got the block. And gently pressing the hips up, removing the block, staying here for a deep breath. And on your exhale, slowly tucking tailbone up to sky, peeling your upper, mid, and lower back all the way down. And then we just pause here. We're going to settle in this half Shavasana for 5 deep breaths. Just letting everything settle down. Turn over to your side, press yourself up. And the last pose before Shavasana is legs up the wall. After all that, it was so good to get the legs up the wall. You can place a bolster under your hips if you've got one and you would like that. Otherwise, just straight on the floor is good. It's always tricky to get into legs up the wall. You start sideways with your sit bones towards the wall and then rotate yourself up and wiggle yourself closer to the wall. Arms can be stretched overhead or out by your sides or on your belly. If they're out by your sides or overhead, palms can face up. Few more deep breaths. And slowly bending the knees, bringing them to the chest. Carefully rolling over to one side and making your way to Shavasana, your final relaxation. If you've got an eye pillow and a blanket, whatever you need to make this luxurious. Perhaps a bolster or cushions under the knees. Bringing some space between the limbs. Walking the shoulders gently down the back, adjusting the hips in a way that feels comfortable and supported. Seeing if there's anything else you can do to make this more comfortable, even more supported. And then settling into that. Letting go of the entire body. Letting everything release and melt down. The whole face muscles, forehead, eyebrows relax. Eyelids and eyeballs. Cheeks. Nose. Lips. Spacious inside the mouth. And the jaw muscles relaxed. Into the whole ears, the outside and inside. The skull, the brain, down the spinal canal, the neck, shoulders, relaxing all the way down the arms, into the hands and fingers. Completely relaxed. The chest, sides of chest, upper back, the lungs and the heart. Easeful, relaxed. The mid back and lower back. The belly, front, sides, and inside of the abdomen. All organs relaxed. Into the lower belly and the pelvic bowl, and the reproductive organs, and the hip sockets, the glutes, the whole pelvis, the pelvic floor, relaxed. Into the legs, front, back, sides and insides of the legs, into the knees, the kneecaps, and the joints, into the lower leg, both of them, into the ankles, feet, and toes, whole body released. Letting any healing, any recalibration happen on its own. Feeling the radiance of the earth, healing and nurturing the whole body. And slowly bringing the breath back into the body. Feeling that deeper breath filling up the entire body, puffing up all the cells of the body with fresh oxygenated blood. Feeling their vibrancy with each inhale. And starting to move the fingers and toes, the hands, the feet, reaching up overhead for a delicious stretch. On exhale, rolling over to a side, gradually pressing yourself up into that starting position as this new person with another yoga class under their belt, into their body. Sitting up tall, sit bones grounded, crown of the head tall, bringing hands to heart center, pressing thumb knuckles into sternum, connecting hands to heart. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling, relaxing shoulders. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Deep breath in to seal this class with the unified sound of Om. Namaste.